This video contains spoilers across the Danganronpa series. Viewer discretion is advised. Character crash-outs across the Danganronpa games are literally an art form in the series, bro. When a culprit is backed into a corner during a class trial, or when a character is generally just put into a stressful situation, some of these characters start tweaking. Yeah, it's pretty understandable. I mean, these are high schoolers forced into a situation where they need to kill their classmates and get away with it in order to survive. If everyone figures you out in a class trial, you're done your. Some Danganronpa characters in the class trials, most notably the culprits, seem to have these intense life or death moments of frustration where they just crash the out on everyone. It's honestly pretty refreshing to see realistic depictions of what these characters would act like in a killing game and how they would react to being accused and caught for murder. If I literally murdered someone in the hopes of escaping the academy and still got found out in the end despite all my hard efforts, I'm gonna be pissed off too. I'm not trying to get crushed by a hydraulic press. With that being said, in this video I want to go through some of the most memorable crash outs in the Danganronpa series, most notably in the trials, and I'm gonna rate them out of 10 based on how interesting and entertaining they were to watch. Because some of these outbursts are genuinely the most entertaining part of a class trial. Sometimes it's when you see the killer show their true nature, sometimes it's when you show the killer's true desperation, and sometimes it's when you're shown a completely different side to a character as a whole. I'm gonna go through the crash outs that were personally the most memorable to me, so if there was one that I happened to miss and you personally really liked, definitely feel free to share it in the comments below. I also want to encourage you guys to check out my fan-made Danganronpa Plush series. It's been getting a lot of attention recently, and if you enjoy my videos, you're sure to enjoy that series. I put a lot of effort into it. The link is in the description and the pinned comment if you want to check it out. Alright, without wasting any more of your time, let's get straight into it. Leon is the first character we definitely gotta look at here. He's the first character in the whole trilogy to be put into this situation. So how exactly does he end up responding? He called me the S-word. When Leon finally gets accused during his trial, this nigga's not having it, bro. First, he simply denies all the evidence that points towards him being the culprit. Then he takes that even further to the point where even after the closing argument, he refuses to admit and acknowledge the fact that he killed Sayaka. Like, dog, we got you, bro. We caught you red-handed. Why do I gotta play a rhythm game to prove you're guilty? I won't lie, if I was in Leon's shoes after killing Sayaka, I would have done the exact same thing. What can I say? I mean, he had a very realistic reaction in a very stressful situation. Crash Out was also very interesting to see. He's like the definition of what a guilty individual would act like. I'm gonna give it a calm 8 out of 10. It was definitely a good one. So how does Mondo face these murderous accusations in the second class trial? Obviously, we know he slips up by revealing something he wasn't supposed to, and his initial reaction is stuttering over his words. I mean, I would do the same thing. And then we see him deny it a little bit, saying that he didn't kill anyone, and asking what gives us the right to treat him like a freaking criminal. Asking that like he didn't bitch slap me the first day of school, bro. After that, it's honestly a bit more stuttering, and then he kind of just admits it. Aside from that very short outburst, Mondo surprisingly doesn't really lash out his anger on other people during this trial. Out of him, Leon, and Celeste, he probably felt the most shameful about his actions. The way he was lashing out on Chihiro, though, that's a completely different story. Not really a crazy crash out happening over here. I'm honestly gonna give it like a 4.5 out of 10. But man, this trial was definitely a sad one. It's honestly probably one of the saddest to me personally. Celeste was genuinely moving different. There's a whole lot of foreshadowing throughout Trigger Happy Havoc that suggests that Celeste has a bit of a different side to her character, and you finally get to see that when she is most obviously the killer in chapter 3. And when you even suggest the fact that she had to work together with Hifumi to complete her plan, she retaliates with this.
That I would go within 10 feet of that shit for brains, that lazy, worthless, goddamn idiot!
From here on out, Celeste is genuinely tweaking, yelling at everyone in different tones of voice, desperately trying to sell the fact that she isn't the culprit. Her voice actor was seriously going off like she had rent due the next day. And honestly, seeing Celeste's character take a 180 this crazy, it kind of makes up for the fact that she was such a predictable culprit. It was so entertaining essentially seeing what was once a calm and composed character completely lash out and show her true side to everyone else when the stakes are high. What makes it even better is that Celeste is literally a character that created a false identity for herself. So she hides her actual personality and identity under this fake persona known as Celestia Ludenberg. And we get to see that false persona completely break in the midst of the trial. Honestly, genuinely one of my favorite crash outs in the entire series. A lot of the lines Celeste says when she's angry are actually really funny and memorable as well. This definitely gets a 10 out of 10 for me, I can't even lie. Teruteru's crash out is one that gets overlooked pretty often, but man is it funny. This kind of outburst was something I never would have expected from Teruteru as a character. I don't think y'all understand how out of pocket his accent sounded for the first time. And for the rest of his rant, he's genuinely a level 80 tweaker. Through the trial, Teruteru just slowly loses his mind, and as bad as I feel saying this, it's kind of hilarious. I'm gonna give it a 7.5 out of 10. He could have had more screen time during the trial, but it's still really solid. This is the first non-culprit of the video I'm gonna cover, Fuyuhiko Kuzuryu. And I think that's pretty valid because Trial 2 is genuinely a movie. Fuyuhiko's already pretty pissed off during the events of the trial, and he definitely doesn't calm down after the suspicion of Hiyoko is lifted. But once Peko is under suspicion, bro loses his marbles. You start hearing voice acting from Fuyuhiko like you've never heard voice acting before. And up to this point, there's almost no correlation between the two characters of Fuyuhiko and Peko, but they still do a good job foreshadowing their unknown relationship in the first trial. But since it's still unknown, you're genuinely confused why Fuyuhiko is so upset at Peko being accused. When Fuyuhiko started crashing out, my interest was genuinely so locked in on this trial. Straying away from the murder, there were obviously still some unanswered questions that were going to be revealed. But Fuyuhiko's outburst confirmed that there was another mystery at hand and really made the second half of the trial that much more interesting. 9 out of 10, Fuyuhiko and Peko had such an interesting dynamic. As much as I dogged on the third trial of Danganronpa 2 in my last video, Mikan's breakdown had to be the best thing that came from it. When these chapter 3 killers start tweaking, I'm telling you, the voice actors genuinely just lock in. Seeing a completely different side to Mikan of all characters in this trial kind of shows the character snapping in a way that it's almost like you've been waiting to see it happen. Mikan is a timid, shy, kind of a crybaby character who's tormented throughout not only the events of the game, but the entire anime series until she's brainwashed by Junko. In this trial, you get to see a completely unfiltered Mikan with all of her memories prior to the events of Jabberwock Island. And yeah, it's low-key not pretty because not only is it a mix of unfiltered anger, she's also speaking in this weird-ass creepy girl tone. And by the end of the trial, she's just down bad to the max. But the main thing about it is that it's just an insane mix of emotions coming from Mikan of all people. One of the last characters in the cast you'd expect to be doing this in the first place. These chapter 3 crash outs generally don't miss, so I'm gonna give it a solid 8 out of 10. Obviously, I don't like this as an ending to Mikan's character, but low-key still a banger, I cannot lie. This one's probably a little unexpected, but I wanted to include Hajime's breakdown from chapter 6, cause holy crap. Usually the protagonists of Danganronpa games don't get like some crazy voice acting, you know what I mean? But Hajime, they were moving different with Hajime, I can't lie. My voice is gonna sound a little different because I'm low-key a little sick. After being pressured so much during the 6th class trial of Danganronpa 2, Hajime reasonably crumbles under the pressure. Now, I don't clearly remember all the specifics and details of this trial in particular, as it's been a while since I've actually went back to it. But yeah, the circumstances must have been really bad if Hajime was crashing out like this. Hajime. It's super short and everything, but it's honestly a great moment in the trial. Because of the fact it isn't too deep though, I'm gonna have to give it a 6 out of 10. But hey, still really good. I actually want to cover some moments from Ultra Despair Girls, so spoiler alert if you haven't played that game. To start off, let's just talk about the Warriors of Hope for a second. Usually, on a good day, you might think like a couple of kids crashing out would be low-key hilarious, low-key funny. We've all seen a video or a clip of a kid crashing out in some way. It's hilarious. Not here. These honestly might be some of the most heartbreaking character breakdowns in the entire series. Like, when I'm watching these cutscenes, I'm not laughing. You better not be laughing. And the themes of the game in these particular moments are taken pretty seriously, surprisingly, for Ultra Despair Girl standards. For obvious reasons, I'm not going to go into detail of the subject matter of what these characters have been through, but you can hear the pain in the voices of these poor children who honestly were heavily manipulated and forced to survive some pretty crazy shit. The crash outs for Masaru, Kotoko, and Nagisa were all valid. And honestly, I'm gonna give it a strong 8 out of 10. These moments are actually really powerful. Alright, what character do I gotta talk about next? Nigga, what? I gotta talk about Haiji again. He has an interesting one, so I gotta talk about it. In the events of Chapter 5, Haiji finally confronts his sister, Monica. Since her and the other members of the Warriors of Hope have been plunging Towa City into despair, he tells Kamaru a million times to break the controller so that all the kids will die. I'm starting to remember that this crash out was like a lot more intense when I watched it for the first time. After revisiting it, I'm not gonna hold you, like Haiji Towa is very well voice acted in this game, but obviously I gotta separate the art from the artist, especially in this case. I gotta take some medicine because my voice is so genuinely tweaking. Look, Haiji played a huge part in abusing Monica and making her this way in the first place. This guy's a really fucking terrible person. Good voice acting, but I was a little disappointed revisiting it because I low-key thought this was a crazier crash out. We know Kirumi Tojo is moving different in this game. If you saw my execution ranking video from months ago, you know. But how exactly was she moving in the trial? Not too crazy, actually. Even when Kirumi is crashing out after being accused, she isn't really swearing at anyone, disrespecting anyone. She's just trying super hard to convince everyone that she didn't handcuff Ryoma and drown him in the most tragic way possible. She is still crashing out though. She is still getting angry. And like, this is definitely the most angry we've ever seen Kirumi before. Kirumi's debating skills also definitely come into play here. Like, she's using words I've never even heard of. In this trial, Kirumi's also definitely making sure that she's gaslighting the shit out of every single person in the room, which definitely just adds to the absolute level of dedication. Now, if we are not including Kirumi's post-trial crash out, then this is probably like a 6 out of 10. But if we are, then this is definitely a 10 out of 10, I can't lie. Now we gotta cover Korekiyo Shinguji, oh brother. Korekiyo's is honestly such a unique one, and I just gotta take a moment and apply for that. Honestly, like you kept me entertained, Shinguji. You kept me entertained. Guys, I promise you I'm not even exaggerating, because when Korekiyo is actually being suspected in this trial, he is losing every final shred of sanity he might have in that little brain of his. And you definitely start realizing that when he busts out with fucking lipstick. Dog, I can't make this shit up. Korekiyo of all characters, busting out with this lipstick. I'm sorry, I'm losing my voice because this fever is so bad. I sound like fucking Gumball from the episode where he's going through puberty. Back to the sister lover. Korekiyo is pretending to be his sister. His sister, his deceased sister that he kills people for. You expect the crash out to not be crazy? Like, even my voice. He's pretending to talk like his deceased sister. He's talking to himself as his deceased sister.
Oh, but Plushroom, how exactly is this a crash out? I don't know, probably when he starts to do shit like this.
I don't know what took them so long to vote for Korekiyo after he started tweaking out, because the moment he starts acting like his sister, yeah, this guy's the killer, he's crazy. Pretty funny nonetheless. I'm honestly gonna give it a solid 8 out of 10. And no, I'm not gonna talk about his freaking sister complex, because I low-key might save that for a future video. And last but not least, we have Kokichi. Because yes, I wanted to talk about that one moment with Kokichi. How Kokichi was moving against Gonta in the 4th trial of V3. The man was moving diabolical. Just to be clear, I don't care what Gonta did, alright? He didn't deserve anything that happened to him in the 4th chapter. The complete failure of Kokichi's initial murder plan also had him lashing out on Gonta like crazy. It's really unfortunate that Gonta, who has suffered from memory loss, is taking all this bullshit for something that he didn't even know he did. But he did do it, he just doesn't remember doing it. The voice acting for Kokichi here is also honestly probably at its peak. You can hear the frustration from Kokichi's voice because Gonta's not defending himself in this situation. I still need to revisit this trial, so I can't say much about it, but this scene in general was just crazy. Compared to the actual culprit crash outs, this isn't that memorable for me, but still memorable enough to be pretty significant. 7 out of 10. And that wraps it up. That's me taking a look at every Danganronpa crash out that I wanted to take a look at in this video, because I know I missed some, but these were the ones I wanted to talk about, alright? I really hope you guys enjoyed. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you want to stay tapped in with the channel. Check out Danganronpa Plushroom Peak if you want to see my own fan-made Danganronpa series. And this video was obviously all fun and games. Try not to take it too serious. I hope you guys have a blessed day, and I'll see you around the Plushroom Kingdom. Peace.
Why y'all even saying anymore? I'm telling you, I was in that there dining hall during the blackout.
Who the f is that?
What are y'all even saying anymore? I'm telling y'all.